Today we're going to be talking about Shadow's Edge by Brent Weeks. So this is the second book in Brent Weeks' Night Angel trilogy. Let's start with Way of Shadows. In book 1, Kylar is a street urchin, and he apprentices himself to the world's best assassin, because that's basically the only way he can get off the streets and out of the gangs. And that part of the book is so hard to read. It's just like, it's a nightmare. From here on out, there's going to be spoilers. If you haven't read book 1, there's going to be spoilers. By the end of book 1, Kylar's best friend, Logan Gyre, has died. That's what he thinks. We know that Logan hasn't died because he has perspectives in the first book. So, but also, Kylar's mentor has died, and Kylar's like, okay, I'm done with this Way of Shadows crap. Like, get me out of here. So he finally wins the girl of his dreams, and they move out of Sonaria, which is now completely war-torn, and then they move to Sura, and Kylar becomes a sort of husband, sort of dad, sort of herbalist in Sura. And he's kind of settling into it. Like, he's not comfortable at all because he still has his old master's Black Kakari, which is this ancient magical artifact that gives him all sorts of powers that he doesn't even know, what they are yet. That makes it tough for him to settle into the life of a herbalist. But he's doing it because he loves his girlfriend. Well, as you can probably guess, because there's a trilogy about Kylar, that is not what happens. Sonarian politics follow him to Sura, and he can't get away from the Wet Boys, the old rivals, his old friends, the Sakage, the underground, I don't really know how to describe the Sakage. They're just scary. They're involved in everything. They're involved in all kinds of politics. It's a big power struggle, as usual in epic high fantasy. And then he finds out that his best friend, Logan Gyre, the would-be king of Sonaria, is not dead! So, of course, all bets are off then. Sorry, girlfriend. So I've been reading and listening to the series, and whenever I'm listening, I have a really hard time keeping track of all of the characters' agendas. There's like probably 10 to 15 character perspectives. On audiobook especially, it's kind of hard because the perspectives all just run together. There's no like chapter breaks. Even in the physical books, the chapters are really short. You're only in people's heads for like short bursts. Happily, I could still just sit back and enjoy the ride. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. So why do I love this series so much? On every page, I am either shocked by something that happens or laughing about whatever happens. And sometimes both on every page. And I love it! I have never read another high epic fantasy where I'm just laughing and shocked all the time. It's so compulsively readable, guys. I set it down and it's so easy to pick it back up again and just look at the page and I'm like, oh, already hooked. It's wonderful! He'll set up a solution to a problem, like, that Logan is in the pits of the worst prison in Sonaria. So he and his buddies think of a way to get out of that pit, and Brent Weeks will just ruin it. Nuh-uh, not happening. So he'll come up with something else, and we're like, oh good, so they will get out, right? And he's like, psych. That's really fun to read. I love that kind of, Brandon Sanderson calls that something. Try-fail cycles. That Brent Weeks totally gets that. And he makes me laugh so hard. I love Brent Weeks' sense of humor. Some people think it's kind of juvenile. Everybody's thinking about sex all the time, and it's funny. Have you guys run across other, I know I've read some epic high fantasies, growing up I read, Lord of the Rings, obviously. And I read tons of children's and YA classics. Brandon Sanderson was really my introduction to that subgenre. So for me, even though some readers complain that Brent Weeks' his Night Angel series is somewhat derivative, I can see how the magic system is kind of like the Eye of the World a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I get what they're saying, but it doesn't bother me because I'm still building up my arsenal of epic fantasy. So there is some criticism about these books. saying that women fall into one of two categories, which is whore or virgin. I would add some of them are married as well. But yeah, pretty much all women do fall into those categories. But I would like to point out that all of the males also fall into that category. All of the young guys are virgins, all of the old guys are married, or they're horrible nobles that have like huge harems and they're just disgusting, corrupt guys. Apparently, in the Night Angel universe, those are your three options. You can be a whore, a virgin, or married. Like, you can't be anything else. So, that's just how it is for everybody, I guess. Despite any problems I have with this series, if I like the voice in a voice-driven novel, I will forgive all other sins. Conversely, if I hate the voice in a voice-driven novel, nothing you say will convince me to waste any more time on it. And Catcher in the Rye, I'm looking at you. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 stars because it was hard to keep track of the character motivation, but loved it so much. So, what do you guys think about this series? Did you enjoy it? Were you put off by stereotypes? Did you hate it? And if you have read it, and now that you know that I love it, what would you recommend to me? Drop me a comment, guys.